They lived for the game and died playing it. A savage dunk, a game-winning shot, a quiet, I feel dizzy, then silence. Hank Gathers was on the verge of NBA stardom when he collapsed mid-game. Reggie Lewis was the face of the Celtics' future until his heart gave out during a routine workout. Wes Leonard hit the shot of his life, then whispered, "I can't breathe." And Guillaume Auro took the court one last time, never to walk off again. No symptoms, no warnings, just heartbreak. These weren't just athletes. They were brothers, sons, and dreams in motion. Their stories aren't just tragedies, they're wake-up calls. Because sometimes the final buzzer comes too soon. Watch the video and hear these powerful stories. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out.
Going to take his first free throw left-handed in honor of his friend, Hank Gathers.
That one looked good from the time it left his hand.
Hank Gathers. This wasn't just another college game. On March 4th, 1990, one of the brightest stars in college basketball, Hank Gathers, collapsed on the court and never got back up.
WCC tournament, Loyola Marymount senior Hank Gathers collapsed on the court. A short while later, he was pronounced dead.
Gathers, a powerhouse forward for Loyola Marymount, had already shown signs that something was wrong months earlier. He fainted during a free throw. Doctors diagnosed him with an irregular heartbeat and gave him medication, but Gathers didn't like how it slowed him down, so he cut back on his dosage. He just wanted to play his game. That night against Portland University, he caught an alley-oop and threw down a monster dunk to extend LMU's lead. Seconds later, he was backpedaling on defense, and suddenly, he dropped. His body started convulsing right there on the hardwood. Teammates froze. The crowd went silent. Trainers rushed to him, trying everything to revive him. But Hank was gone. He was just 23. It shook the entire basketball world. How could someone that strong, that athletic, be gone so suddenly? His death forced people to ask real questions about how heart conditions are handled in sports, about medical clearance, about what athletes go through just to stay on the court. Hank Gathers wasn't just a college star. He was an NBA All-Star in the making until his heart gave out. Reggie Lewis. Reggie Lewis wasn't just another NBA player. He was the rising face of the Boston Celtics after Larry Bird's era was winding down. At just 27, he was already a team captain and an All-Star in 1992. But on April 29, 1993, during a playoff game against the Charlotte Hornets, something terrifying happened. Mid-game, Lewis suddenly collapsed to the floor. The crowd fell silent. Trainers rushed in. Somehow, he got up, came back, and even finished the game. But that moment, that fall, was a warning. Doctors were divided. One group said he had a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which could be fatal.
One thing physicians are sure of is that cardiomyopathy can be deadly.
His doctors told him, "Your basketball career is over."
Another thought it was a less dangerous fainting issue. Reggie chose to believe the latter. Then, just 3 months later, tragedy struck. On July 27, 1993, during an off-season workout at Brandeis University, Reggie collapsed again. This time, he never got up. 2 campus police officers found him lying on the court. They tried CPR. They used a defibrillator. Nothing worked. Reggie Lewis, an NBA All-Star, a husband, a father, was gone. Just like that, at 27 years old. Wes Leonard. Wes Leonard's story sounds like a movie, until the end breaks your heart. On March 3, 2011, the 16-year-old from Fenville, Michigan made a last-second layup in overtime to keep his team's perfect season alive. His teammates lifted him in the air as the crowd exploded in celebration. Then, just moments later, Wes clutched his chest and said 3 chilling words, "I can't breathe," and he collapsed. Panic set in instantly. Coaches rushed over, performing CPR. A defibrillator was brought in, but Wes never woke up. Just minutes after hitting the biggest shot of his life, he was gone. An autopsy showed he had dilated cardiomyopathy, an enlarged heart. He didn't even know. No one did. He looked completely healthy. He played like a warrior. Wes Leonard wasn't in college yet. He was a kid. He didn't make it to the NCAA or the NBA or even his next game. His death stunned the nation. It wasn't just a tragic loss. It became a wake-up call. People started asking, should heart screenings be mandatory for high school athletes? Could this have been prevented? Wes Leonard's final moment was a game winner, but it also became the moment that changed how youth sports think about heart health. He played with heart. No one knew that the same heart was breaking from the inside. Cartier Woods. In January 2023, basketball in Detroit came to a standstill, not because of a buzzer beater, but because of tragedy. Cartier Woods, just 18 years old, was playing for Northwestern High School when he looked at his coach and quietly said, "I'm dizzy. I need to come out." Seconds later, he collapsed on the court. What followed was 40 minutes of non-stop CPR while teammates, coaches, and staff prayed for a miracle. Cartier never woke up. He was put on life support but died days later. The official cause? Sudden cardiac arrest. What made it more heartbreaking was that he'd never had any known heart issues. No warnings, nothing. His aunt, who had raised him since he was a baby, shared on GoFundMe that he dreamed of playing college ball, maybe even the NBA. That dream ended way too soon. His death hit like a gut punch, especially because today's athletes are surrounded by trainers and health protocols. Yet even with all that, no one saw this coming. Cartier's story reminds us how fragile life is, even for the young, strong, and talented. It wasn't on national TV. It didn't happen in the NBA. But his story still belongs in this video because every kid chasing the league is part of this game. Cartier Woods died playing the sport he loved, and sometimes that's all it takes. Guillaume Pierre Hoireau. Cardiac arrest doesn't care about age, stats, or experience. And 40-year-old Guillaume Pierre Hoireau, known to teammates simply as G, was living proof of that. In 2024, G suited up for one final inter-island basketball match between Jersey and Guernsey. This was supposed to be his last run before retirement, one final time to lace them up and walk away on his terms. Instead, the game ended in silence. G collapsed mid-court and never got back up. The paramedics tried everything, but it wasn't enough. He passed away with the ball still in play. The cause was later revealed to be a hidden heart condition, one no one saw coming. And just like that, a man who had given decades to the game was gone. This wasn't a high school kid chasing scholarships. It wasn't an NBA all-star under the spotlight. It was a local legend, a guy who just loved to hoop. But G's death shook the basketball community on the Channel Islands because it proved something terrifying, that this can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, pro or amateur, dreaming or retired. When your heart gives out, the scoreboard doesn't matter. For G, the game didn't just end, life did. And that's why his story belongs in this video. Because dying on the court doesn't make you less of a star, it makes your story unforgettable. These stories are more than just tragedies. They're reminders of how fragile life can be, even for the strongest among us. From Hank Gathers to Guillaume Hoireau, these athletes gave everything to the game and paid the ultimate price. Their legacies live on, not just in the numbers they put up, but in the hearts they touched and the awareness their stories continue to raise. If this video moved you, take a moment to honor them by subscribing to the channel, and in the comments, share your thoughts, tributes, or personal stories, because conversations like this can save lives.